All right, so I believe so far so good. We have let me see if this was the notebook. So what we did last was we're still under pictures engineering, right? Yeah. So if we are asked as data scientists, what is feature engineering? What is feature itself? The headings, right? So when we say feature engineering, we are simply talking about creation of what? New headings in a data frame. And I said it can be done with calculation by adopting some calculation like dividing the value in one column by what? The value in another column. And that we end up generating a new heading. Before I started that topic, I emphasized that all this while, before we called it feature engineering, we have actually been engineering features, right? Yeah. Because when we added, there are several scenarios where we added different columns. That falls under features engineering. So let me see. I think the last thing we did, I went through the solution of the last assignment. So I went through the solution, right, of the last assignment, because you were given one assignment. You were given one assignment, and that assignment was based on preparing columns, right? Yeah. Then I don't know if this was the assignment. Was this the assignment? Yes. Where you were related to as a new employed data scientist by a senior colleague, and then you were asked to perform some tasks, which took us through all this. I know I have already, we ran this in order to check for what? Missing value, because in that assignment, we were asked to check for what? Missing value. And we ran .info instead of its NA, because with .info, it's easy for us to know through the counting of what? Value across what? Column. So we're able to know that there are about 5 missing values under what? Books. Because under name, we have 150 names. And then we also find out that somewhere, was it only other book? Yes. We noticed that all the missing value were under what? Books. And that was what led to, okay, let us call out only a column where we have, or only rows where at least under each of the column, there is a missing value. And we adopted this command that we have already learned some time ago, which is what? Dot what? Any, right? Good. Now we also call out only that particular field based on the finding under info. Since we concluded that we only have missing values under book, there was no need for us to say df dot what? FINA, then supply anywhere you have NAN 0. But instead, we specifically talk to what? One of the header, which is what? The book. So which means that there was another technique that was introduced there. So in a data set, tomorrow, you are given a data set and you have different columns where you have missing values represented with what? NAN. And for one reason or the other, you are not asked to supply or to replace all the missing value with a constant value like 0. Maybe the one in one column should be represented with what? 2. The ones in another column should be represented with what? 3. So you can adopt this system to answer such tasks or such question. Exactly. That is, you can call out individual what? Columns instead of attaching the finale to what? To the entire data frame. To the entire data frame. Okay, so just to still explain some of the things we did. So we did it here. So I think this is where we applied it real. I just want to take us through so that we know where we actually ended last time and know where we are to commence. I don't know if we are taking a binning value. I think that is the next one because this one is just like, let me see. All these ones, they are still part of the answer to the question, right? To the assignment question. So this is where we are to start a new topic. A new topic. So which is called binning what? Value. So let's start with that. That is our focus in this section. Binning value. Binning value. So what do we mean by binning value in machine learning, particularly under unsupervised learning? So just to describe it, you can group numerical features into what? Bins or discrete categories if it make more sense for your analysis. Now, you can see, I want to look at the diagram here. So at this point, I have not started implementing it in our Python what? Notebook. This is just like to give us an overview of what this binning value is. So this is just like, look at the column we have here. We have sign up what? Day of the week. But I was made to know that we could not implement this, right, in our data. That was one of the functions that did not, we are not able to get the expected. Okay, we did a wrong analysis, right? Okay, all right. So let me just go with this first. We'll get to where it is, we'll know how to. Okay, so now I'm trying to picture a concept here, which I want us to pay attention so that you know why binning value. Why binning value? Now, if I want us to focus on this column, what we did here was, we initially have complete date format, right? Yeah. Which was made up of a day, month, and what? Year. And we did component what? Date component extraction. Remember that topic where we did date component extraction. So we extracted months, right? So what we are having here is what? Day of the week. Now, what we are saying is that if you have a data like this ready to be passed into a predictive analytics model, there will be a kind of misunderstanding by the program. The program will think that if you represent, we have sign up day of the week, so these three probably represents maybe Wednesday. Okay, so let's just categorize them. We have weekdays and we have what? Weekend. Now, we needed a way of grouping. Can see the word I use here, grouping. We need a way of grouping all the people that sign up during the weekdays. They should be represented with one constant value, which could be 0. All the ones that sign up during the weekend, they should be represented with what? 1. This is the outcome already, which we are yet to implement. You understand? So I'm explaining the outcome of what we want to do now. So this is what the outcome came with. So which means that we took the whole of this and we created another heading. We call that heading what? Weekend. Okay, so now we have represented all the what? The weekend sign up with what? 1, and the weekdays with what? 0. Now, like I was saying, the reason is that we are picturing the analytics model because this is machine learning, which falls under what? Predictive. Remember that we are still under unsupervised. When we get to supervised, we are going to start what? The predictive what? Analysis. Then the data we have perfected under unsupervised, they are the data we are going to pass into what? that training what model. So we are picturing that we are going somewhere. Where we are going, if we are to submit things like this, there will be an issue. The machine will think that Monday is better than what? Tuesday. So the machine find it easier to understand when they are represented or when they are being. And that is the idea. So this is not limited to only this. I can bin the whole of this name for certain reason in a sales inventory given to you to analyze. The company can say, okay, we want to represent or want to group all the customer transaction based on certain criteria. So we can say that, okay, customer that purchase or customer that their name start with certain character should be being into what? Maybe 1. While customer that their name starts with other characters should be being into. So the idea is that you are taking actual value and you are representing them. At the same time, you are grouping. Because what you did here now, we group all the weekdays, we group them to 1. All the weekend or to another what? Grouping. So that is what we are saying. So now I highlighted here, note, why Bini? Why Bini? So that in case you want to know why going through this whole exercise. Because the model we think 6, which is what? Saturday, right? If we have to go by counting the numbers. Huh? Good, no. Good. Yeah, no. I just pick this one to tell you why you are binning. That why binning? Because the model we think 6, which is Saturday, is better than what? Friday. Of course, if you want to represent Friday, Friday will be what? 5, right? So that is what we try to, consider that no, to avoid that confusion. And we are talking about precise prediction. Okay, so everything that will make the model to predict accurate is what we must enforce on the data. So if you are done writing, let me know. Okay. It will compare. Yes, we compare. Yes, we compare and prioritize 6. Yes. Yes. Meanwhile, no, let me break it down like this. I think from your question, I'll be able to draw some insights from what you are talking about. You know that when we did normal analysis, we identified trend, right? And that trend signifies what? The most occurring what? Variable in the data set, right? Now, we also did, when we did like aggregate summing, we saw a situation whereby a variable is leading by the amount, but by the numbers of transactions, it's not leading. Just because of the price tag. You understand? So this is where the confusion is now. So the machine will think that instead of looking at the most occurring, it will just look at the highest value and just predict that what is the highest. Meanwhile, that is not the factor. Did you understand it now? Okay. So now that is for that. Now here we are switching to our Jupyter notebook now. Okay, that's what I indicated here. Now in Jupyter notebook, we have a data set, which I think that was the last thing we did. That was the last thing we did, Abi. Good, which we want to continue with now because we have value to be in there. So let's quickly. So let me write that. Yeah, go write this note. Write this note. Write this note. This is what you do. You write this syntax in your notes because we are going to code it together. So what you have to copy right now in your note, not to, except you are using electronic note. Copy this syntax down, then copy this brief note because I will switch from here to my notebook to go and implement it to get the same result. Yes. Copy this syntax and then this note so that when we leave here, we won't be coming here.
where we are applying. You know, before we ended that class, we manufacture these features, right? We manufacture this feature, and that is, we call out number of songs they listen to in that model underscore what, df. We also call out the number of what, pop, right? Sorry, we did a calculation here. We did a calculation here, and that calculation was that we called out the number of the pop header, and then we divided it by the number of songs they listen to. And that was what gave us the percentage, right? The percentage. So now we have this. Was this exactly where I stopped? I thought we later updated all this in the data. Okay, they called us off that day. That was what we're trying to do before they said we should. That we have not even completed that task, so before the beginning value. There is a task we are to complete there. Let me see. Here. Let me see.
It's that slide, but now went back to left slide.
Okay. It's not this one, right?
It's not the same that you told us just copy now.
No. There is we're supposed to have assembled. We're supposed to have supplied those two headings that we call out into the data. Yes, let me see. It was from the assignment, have you? From the assignment. Was it? I want to know whether feature engineering here, right? Okay. Because I know that day we were interrupted. I think here, right? So we are supposed to, we've done this one. Is it there now? Okay, yeah, that was the one. Then this is one, you know, yes, we have to add it before we go for beginning value. I know something is missing.
The syntax you asked us to copy is what just here now.
Oh, that means we were here to complete this one. So let's go there and add it quickly before we continue with the beginning value. The same one, the one you copy now.
That's what we just copied.
Yes. So let me just go and also so let me just, all I need to do is just to apply it here. Just to apply it here. So what we are doing here now, if we are to describe it with comments, we are updating the data set with what? Those are the header we generated. So updating the main data frame with the calculated value. So our syntax for doing that is the name of the data set in this case. Let's say, okay, that means we are aligned with it. Okay. Model DF, that is from model DF data set, select think is what we have here. Okay, we are creating a new header called PCT, right? Kill PCT, yes, that is PCT underscore pop. So this is going to create a new header, and the value that will be outputted under that header will be the calculation we did here. So I'll just copy the whole of this calculation, Control C, paste it here.
divide it by the calculation we got here, divide it by the selection here, Control C as well. I think that is what we have there. Then we saved, okay, let me just, so this is updating. It will override the one.
Copy twice what you did.
I copy twice?
Yes. You've already.
Okay, so I need to take off this one now. Yeah. And this one, right? Okay. Okay, so now let's see if the data set has been updated. That is, if we call the data set and we can find this new created header. So to view the data again, I'll simply call what? The model df and see if I have it added. I think it's added now. Let me reduce it so that we can see it. Okay, so it's added. It's added. So it is from this data frame that we are now binning. Okay, so this is the data set we are using. That is, we are using model. We are binning values in what? Which one? Oh.
You don't have it all.
We don't. Hmm?
You can tweak it down. Can you from the kind of say and bring up
The bill.
That means we are good to go to the binning value now, right? So which means that this is what we just adopted now. We just added the generated picture to the data set. So the header we created now is what? PCT underscore what? Pop. Now, application of np.where for binning. So this is where we are starting the binning value. Okay? So we want to bin, there must be a set of values you are binning. Don't forget that the concept of binning is grouping, right? Representing set of value with one number. That is why we use the word grouping. So the criteria for the binning here now is what? Is that header that she added now, which is what? Where did you say it is?
Currently, this is your.
Okay, good. So let me just come to the data set because we need to know. So we are binning based on what? The sign-up day of the week. Okay, so we have students who sign up weekdays. We have students who also sign up weekend. So all the students that sign up weekdays will be binned to one value. That is what? One numerical value will represent them. Then the one that sign up weekend will also be represented with a numerical value. Now, if I should go back to my slide now, just to complete that explanation. So now, look at it here. I added a note here that 5 represents what? Is this number corresponding at all? 5 is supposed to be what? If we are starting the counting from where is Sunday? 5 is Friday, are we? No, based on the counting, no.
0 is Monday.
Yes, 0 is Monday.
6
yes.
is Sunday.
You know, computer counting, we count the first one as 0 index. So 5 is what? Saturday. Then 6 is what? Sunday. Then in this case, I just pick one of the, I just pick weekend. It's weekend that we have here now.
Yeah.
Right? And I say weekend will be represented with what? 1. Then weekdays will what? 0. So we have already identified our binning was system now. So now coming here, this is where I think we are still on that. Now, sign up this because it's no longer needed. So here is where I was talking about you removing it. Because I'm looking at where we applied this. Hope I'm not missing a slide. No. This is it. We have not implemented this one. Yeah, because I know that if I'm coming here, it means that we have already been and we have generated. So one is no longer needed. So we have to start from here. So let's write here. Have you written this? Application of what? So we are using this conditional function, which is np.where. That is what we are using to. So we are binning based on condition. Hmm? No. I will quote it. That is when I was practicing. Yeah, the name of our own. Is in, they are together, is a function, is in. So it is inside that function that you are defining the condition. Yeah? Yes.
The bracket, the selection.
Yes, a square bracket. To select the 2 days, the days you are focusing on. Because once it is not any of those 2 days, it will be 0. Are you getting it? That is the logic. So we are focusing on those 2 days, that 5 and 6, they are weekend.
What do you want to be on? Yeah.
Yes, it will be the data set where you have this. The name of our data set where we have this now have changed. Then, while I was creating this slide, the customer, the data set that have this header that I'm selecting as the criteria for the binning is what? Customers. But in this case now, our own now is not going to be customer. It's going to be model. Yes. Yes. If you are done writing, let me switch to so that we can go and implement it together. Can I switch? Okay, so here, this is where the binning is starting. So here, just to explain with comments, binning values. Binning value based on sign up. Based on sign up underscore day of the week. That's the criteria for the binning. So here we are using np.where function as a Python conditional function or conditional for assigning conditional statement. Command creating new. So 2 things we are going to. So the value that will be bin will be displayed under a new column. So creating new feature. And the feature will be weekend. The feature will be weekend. and updating. So a couple of things we are doing at the same time. So the syntax will be syntax. The syntax will be data set we are working with now is model df select from model._df select the header we are adding, which is weekend. So this is a new feature. Then equals to np.where. np.where is a conditional function in Python. So the name of the data set, which is the same word, model. From this data set, we are selecting the header. So let me see if I can get it from here. So this is the header now.
Sign up date.
Yes, sign up, yes. So how will you be able to apply your own, and since you don't have it, or you will just manufacture anything there?
I will put it since I have not on that this sign up date. I will use sign up date.
Yeah, okay, good.
Maybe later I will now take my time to.
Okay, all right.
All
All right, so we are concatenating it with, yes, those is seen. Is seen is a function which you will use to select the value in the data set. So let's say 5, 6. Then you come outside the dot where. That is what? Any value that is not, this is where you are defining the condition now. Comma, say 1.
Before the second closing.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we have a. Okay, sorry. This one is square bracket, have you? Yes, I was thinking that one is parenthesis bracket. So comma 1, comma 0. So which means that any value that is not 5, that is not 6, will be given what? 0. So any value that is 5 and 6 will be being into what? 1. That is what we are saying here. So now let's run it and see. So now let's check comments to view the data again, data set again, to view the data set again, to view the data set again. I'll simply call the name of the data set, which is what? Model. And then run it. So I think it's settled now. So we only have 1 and what? 0 under what? Weekend. 1 and 0. So the next step is for us to delete this, because the whole of these values has been into what? Weekend. So let me wait for us to get there before I proceed. Then let's go back to the slides. So now, so this is where we are now. Now, drop sign of what? Day of the week, because it's no longer needed. And the syntax to do that is what you have on the screen. Okay, so what we are about to do now is to drop the sign up what day picture, because we have already been it into weekend and the syntax. Let me comment it here. So now we can drop the sign up day of the week. So the syntax will be right. So the syntax is select the name of the data model equals to from model select model concatenates the header we want to, the function called drop. What we want to drop, we will select it. Want to drop columns equals to select the header you want to drop, which is so I'll prefer that I copy it from the data set to avoid the graphical error. Please come back here, paste. Now let me see if that has been taken. Okay, so
Ask the bottom.
yes, to view the main data again. I did not use as is equals to 1, but I'm dropping.
No, it's about one part.
Okay, now let me see what happened to you. Main data again. I'll simply call model. Is it the same thing again? That what? Let's see. Sign up date not found in ASIS.
No, that's it.
Sign up date not found in the ASIS.
No. No.
Go back again to your table. Let me see some.
My table up.
Yes.
You put
As your own work.
you put as a
Mine was sign up date, so mine will go.
Okay.
See,
Go back to where you had the movie from for.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
This is what I.
You have on that
No,
score.
I copied it now.
Okay, copy the level.
I copied it should be there.
copy that on bro. That's the bottom one.
ASIS. Okay, here have it. Here have it. Let's try now. Try. Let's see, because I know it's work without it. That was why.
Fine. Fine, you won't be there, just sign up with all
Yeah.
our customers.
Because now it worked. That is why I crop the image. So, you know, we just manufactured this now. I hope
No, one.
has it worked? So it might be because it's only his own and that he still use the original data.
So because
Yeah, good. Yeah, Abby?
no, my problem.
Yeah.
No, this is my
Yes.
see. GT got day of the week. From the day of the week, some sign of the
Okay.
day of the
Okay.
then. So that means they are connected together. Because I'm not sure if you don't include this dot.
But we ought to have removed. We have to have removed this.
Sign of date since.
Suppose I've removed this sign of dates. The moment you get sign of the week, you remove this.
Remove it, yes.
From what we are doing. Because we extracted it. We don't need all of them again.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
I will need to run. I will need to.
You don't need to.
So now, but the one we did is there now. I think we are good now. We are good with it now. Because this is actually what we need. Just the beginning value.
Okay.
So we don't need any of those ones. So we ought to have removed it since. So thank God that both of them disappear. So this is just like using one stone to kill two birds. So that is still okay. So now,
As it is now, we're all on the same page.
the same page now. So now let's quickly go to the proxy. Proxy now, I think that is all about beginning value. Okay, that is all about beginning value. But I want to give us a kind of I would have want to make it clear because of time, so I can go far. You can take it as an assignment. You can just try. It's not a compulsory assignment. Yeah. Which one is not deleted? Is it this one? Have you replaced it the way I did mine?
Check it character by character. Okay.
Spelling and everything. That's why I copied. Hope you did not type it wrong. Now, I will try to explain something to us that at your own convenience, please, it's not a component assigned, but try and do it. Now, you can just choose another header and practice being here. So you can bin the age. Okay? So we can say that, okay, people within can bin all this number because we have 25 years old, we have 19, we have 26. So we can select the ones for 25 and say all of them should be represented with maybe 0. Select 19. All of them should be what? Represented with what? Maybe 1. So what I'm trying to tell you to do is to replicate this code. You see here now, we selected what? How many do you select? 2.
2, yeah.
Right? So, but if you check age now, you have more than 2 age category. We have 25, right? We have 19. So all you need to do is you have to select all of them here and then supply what? The values here. So just give it a trial. Let me just move to the next one. So that is how to bin value. So the next topic is what? Proxy variable. Proxy variable. Let's quickly go there. Proxy variable. Proxy variable. Proxy variable. So in machine learning, particularly under unsupervised learning, these terms we have to be used to them because these are techniques we use in preparing our data for modeling. So what is a proxy variable? A proxy variable is a feature meant to approximately represent another what? Variable. Meant to approximately what? Represented or represent another variable. So which means that, look at this, we are bringing this from somewhere. This is not part of the data. This average temperature. And as I continue with the communication, you know that, yes, this can actually be proxy to one of the variables. So it is not in every scenario. You cannot just bring a header, 2 different header value that does not relate in any way, or that the factor of one does not influence what? The other. So before you think of this proxy technique, you must look at the 2 headers involved and see whether one influences the other. Now, look up here. Just pay attention to the slide because I'm still going to take you to the notebook. Look at this place here. So the idea is that if you read here now, they are used when a feature is either difficult to us to gather or engineer into a new feature. So where you have some difficulties of generating, you can say, okay, we can introduce proxy what variable. That is what we use another one that can represent it to represent it. Now, if you look here now, sign up, this is the focus. This is where we'll now get the insight to what we are about to do. Sign up month is numeric, but may not be good for modeling. Why? Because the machine will also think that August is not better than what? May. So there will be that kind of conflict that we just identified now. So in other words, now look at this here. I use the arrow to explain. So in the data set we just did now, we have sign up month. Did we have it there? I hope we have not deleted it. We don't have, oh, we could not even get it. Have we? Okay. Oh, okay.
Sometimes when I was doing some topics, I felt I think I was able to get something. And it's still the same problem. But currently now, it's not.
We don't have it in our data now.
But we have deleted sign of the book.
No, we deleted sign updates.
That's why we're going to get the sign up. How much?
Yeah. Let me pause first. That particular feature that you are bringing in, to replace the difficult header or feature you are trying to engineer must have correlation. They must correlate. That is what they must relate. So for example, now let me just run through the slide so that we'll get the full picture of what we are trying to achieve here. This is average temperature. Okay, this is average temperature, which we are bringing is an external data that we bring from somewhere now. Now, this talk about temperature. Now, why are we focusing on sign up month? Because there is every possibility that the temperature in that region determine the sign up of the students. Did you see the correlation now? That's the connection. So that's why we cannot just pick name. Because if you pick name now as to be replaced with the proxy variable, you now ask yourself, how does the entering of this name here, or how does the proxy variable influence what? The one you are removing? No connection. For example, now, in Nigeria here, we all know that there is a season that students normally register for vocational training, which is now. We just entered the season as they just finished writing their words. JSS 3 exam and what? Primary 6, right? Any women from second week of this month, July, the general public will now what? Vacate. That will now increase the registration. So now, if we connect it here, in this case, now we are saying that, okay, this sign up will be low in May. So we can now say that, okay, holiday. Can you see that? Maybe we have data somewhere that mention what? Holidays period. So we are saying that, okay, we can approximately represent this holiday, this sign up month with what? Holiday. Why? Because it is the holiday that influences what? The registration. You know, since we don't have this header, and I'm trying to see how we can understand the narrative first, even though we want to manipulate it with another data in our data set. So in this case now, we are going to replace this with that pop, just an assumption, just for us to learn the techniques. And then we are still bringing this from outside. So if that should be the case, this particular data now, you are going to code it, but me, I have it, I'm going to copy it. Thank God I have a fast typist. As you said, okay, because the last time I asked you to type, I did not even move an inch. Okay, let me try and send it on WhatsApp. No, I will zoom it now. I will zoom it. I think we should code it so that we can get this is a dictionary. This is a dictionary. So let me just zoom it. So the only thing you are going to do now is just for you to what? To write this for me. So once you are done writing this, I'll come back. You see, I will copy my own just to get the same data, and then we move on with what we want to do. All right, so let me switch. So I already have this particular data set in one of the notebook that I've computed. So I will just go there and copy it. I'll just go to under where do I have it? I have it in my home directory. Here, I think I have it here. So let me just open this. So all the code we want to run, I have already run them here. So I'll just go to that section. You can see the day of the week that is now, is it the same thing that is giving us there? I am going to, this is not the one you wrote. Okay. This is the binning values. This is the proxy. This is the one you wrote, maybe? So let me just take the whole of this. Control C. Go back to my, let me paste it here to be on the same page with you. Okay, so you can see that this particular data got the month extraction. And if you look at it, the month here determine the what? The atmosphere here. The average temperature affected what? The month. And it was that month that we are replacing in our read data, which means that what? The collection of this was also influenced by this. So now we go back to the slide where we are applying it. Okay. Now let's write this. Merging. So here we are going to use merge function. Merge the two tables based on sign up months. But in our own case now, what are we going to? Remember, we said we are switching it. So we can just write it like this, but it will be in our practical notebook that we will switch it so that in case you get it right. Yes, that is left underscore on. So they are attributes that determine the placement to determine which side of the data this header will be added. So you have to state it. It's part of those techniques. Yes, we have right on, we have left on. And then you have to pass the feature that will be added to the left and then to the what? To the left. So in this case now, we use sign up month as the left, that is on the left-hand side. That's what you are saying. Then the right on will be what? Months. So which means that at the end of the day, That is why we are having this average what? Temperature added to the right-hand side. Because you have already stated that this one is what? Based on the location. It's located at the left-hand side. So here, after the on equals to, then the selection of, this thing is actually small. Wait. Is it better like this?
Yeah, better.
Okay. So now let's quickly go back to the data set and implement it. So let me also use comment to explain what we are doing right now, which is merging the two data sets based on the first header will be pub, as we said here, right? Based on pub. So based on pub, because we already have our proxy variable coming from outside. So the syntax will be PD dot merge function. Okay, so merge is a function. Then we select the data set we are merging. Our data set here is what? Model. Our data set here is model. Comma. What is the name of the average AV temperature? Then comma, then left underscore on equals to the header. The first one is the pub, right? This sign up pub, just the letter. What case? Is it capital letter? Then comma, right underscore on equals to, which one are we putting here now? Months. Now, is that how we have it in the data sets? I hope we are not going to see have issue here. Capital letter M, have you? Okay, so let's see. So let's run and see. No. It has to generate it. It's part of what you are adding. We remove sign up months. In other words, originally our plan was the sign up months determine the what? The average temperature determine the sign up months. But while we are getting this value 10 now because of pub that we use instead of the actual header we are supposed to use. We are just going to learn the process so that we understand the technique. So run what do you get? You have just 2 rows, have you? Yeah. I'm trying to decode why. Yes, yes, because normally what we are supposed to use in place of this pop sign up. And we are trying to generate. So let's say we are having issue with the sign up month. You understand? We are not able to re-engineer it. So we have used this one now to create what? Months now. Did you understand the logic? So which means that at the end of the day, we have to remove that sign up month. So we are trying to, this is an assumption that we are trying to engineer a feature. And the feature happened to be the sign up month. And you try all your best, you are not able to what? To engineer the new feature with that sign up. So you now consider, okay, there is another data, which is the external data, that actually determine that value that is difficult for you to, to re-engineer.
The original data that are forecast.
Yeah.
You see that it's only other values are higher than 12.
Higher than 12, right?
So the only ones that are
within that one that we brought.
That we just brought. The 10 and the 5.
And 12 and 5, have we? Okay, good. But if we had used that sign up months, everything will have worked together.
All of them.
Yes, everything will be within that those days in the month. Okay, so what is important is this syntax. Is this syntax. That's why I say in your notes, when you are writing it, don't write pop. Write that one in the slide because you can go and rectify it in your book and correspond this with it, probably before the next class, if you can achieve that. Yes, so that we'll have the right header there, the sign up month instead of.
What if we create the month again and attach it to foreign?
The month?
They run the code again.
It will work. Just like I'm just considering we going through that process again. That's why I just use pop just to show us the syntax. But we are not supposed to relate it with what? Pop. What is happening here is that particular proxy variable data you brought does not have in any way what are related, or is not in any way related to. So they are working against themselves. But what we are interested here is just for us to know this syntax, merge this left on, right on, as a way of applying our proxy variable. So now that we have done that, we are still going to have issues because let's see, this is the one we just did now. Now let's save the update. Now, if we cannot save this update. If we save this update now, it means that subsequent things we want to do will be an issue too. Because the update we have now is just 2 lines. Because ordinarily, if everything is perfect, this is what you will have generated. Let me remove this so that you see. You see your month now. You see that this is it, and this is the what? The proxy variable that we brought in. So instead of having just 2 rows, this is what we will have generated. So that is when you will now update it. You will now save it because you ran your code from PD, which means that what you have right now, they are just display value. They are not recognized. They are not A. If I call that model underscore DL, it will not include what we just got now. So just to update it, we'll save it with that same word header, and that is this particular slide now. Exactly. Now let's see here. This is where you see that now that we have generated months, this sign up months, we now want to drop it because we have used the proxy variable to get an equivalent called month in the place of what? Sign up month. And that is why we are talking about dropping it here. So I would advise us to just write this code like this so that when you get your data right, you can follow it to, I think what I'm going to do, or I can as well go there and copy that notebook and delete other things. I will do that before the next class, but just write this. I think I will try to rectify it so that it will align with what we are doing. Where I copied that prosody variable from is a notebook where I have confirmed all this. So what I will do is I will just copy that notebook and delete everything, all the things we have not talked about, then stop where we are so that next time I will just work directly from that notebook. So once we are done writing the syntax, then let me know so I can move to it. So I think it was this place that was it this was
No, this is the one. Let's
yeah, we
next one.
which you have me, I must not drop again.
What was supposed to drop the sign off?
Yes, we are supposed to drop, but since each time she drop now.
No, the one might not be.
No, what was trying to drop was the sign off date.
Okay, but now we have sign up months.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't sign up, you drop the round.
That is what I'm talking about now. There is nothing wrong in trying now. If you try, I'll just undo. Let's do it so that we can implement. Okay, so let me drop. So the one I'm dropping now, I'm dropping sign up months.
Yeah.
Because we have already generated just months.
Do we need to save it into the data frame test before dropping?
I thought that was the place we were before now. That I said I cannot save where I got just 2 rows that time. That was actually the point where I felt I cannot save because that was not really the real data set. Because then we use a pop, and the pop gave us just 2 rows, right?
Yes.
And I said I cannot save that because if I save that data, I will not be able to use it to continue other things we want to learn. So now, which means that there is no need of dropping self. Let me just take the whole of this and save it as.
What happened? It dropped.
We drop all of them.
No, I don't want to drop. Let's just save this.
We drop all. Even the average.
So what we need to do now, let's just save this now as a data frame and continue. Yes, the whole of this, because this is just display result now.
This one with name.
Yes, good.
Let's
Save it as. No, we just update it to that model underscore df. So I think that is what we need. We'll do. Let's just say update it in the model underscore df. So the syntax will now be I will just copy. In fact, there's no need. Okay, since I've already written it, let me just say copy. And then I will just say model underscore df equals to this code. Execute, just to view it, to see updated or state data frame. Let me. Have they removed? Okay, well, anyway.
This was what she was complaining about. Don't run the big.
So let's learn from the experienced people now. Yes, now you are the experienced person. At least it has worked for you. That's so let's follow you. Let's follow you. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, no, I've already. This one is the one you outputted. I have already saved it. But let me. Why is this one not okay? It's complaint or something. Sign up month error. This one worked the other time now. Let me run again now. Let's see. Probably it's timing out. If I remove this one now, I want to see whether it will allow me to see. Okay. But before I wrote that code, this one was put in now. This one was at put in now. I thought we got the result before. We got a report here that time before.
Not now.
Already achieved this now.
Yes.
Have we?
Yeah.
So I think that is the last. Here is just the tips and then the assignment that is given. So since your own has run now, so that will take time to rectify my own before the next class. What I want to do is to go back again and make sure that I get everything in order to avoid this delay. Where I have all those, I want to make sure I get them ready for the next class. So that topic was a Bini value, right?
Extraction.
No. This topic now that led to this one now is Bini value now. It's Bini value. No. We have is proxy variable. Yes. So which we have already done now. The only thing is that the dropping is completing. Okay. So now you just write these notes and then the assignments. Just take down these notes and then the assignment. So that will now take us. So let me see what we have next. Okay. So this is where I'll be looking at the assignment I want to give you now, the solution. So just like what we did the other time, I will start with the assignment. Yes, this note. So this is just like conclusion of everything we have done in this section, which is so the assignment here is can you create the following? A column that sum up the total hours of entertainment each student consume weekly. A column that calculates the percent of entertainment consumed that is on screen. Then the key objective is create a column called total entertainment that sum up all the types of entertainment for each student. Create column called PCT _screen that calculates the percent of entertainment that is on screen. Everything except for book for each student.